That's good. Just kind of settle in, scan that periphery. If there's anything here, anything, conversation, something that came up, a phone call, something cooking, just whatever it is, just say, great, thanks, aloha. If you can't find anything, just say whatever's here, welcome, aloha. Right there, kind of went like this. There was nothing here. I couldn't find anything here. So I said, okay, everything here, just welcome, aloha. And it took whatever was here, it went like this. It took a moment, then everything here could mean a storm going on in your area. It could mean changes on the planet with different energies coming in. It could mean any number of things of which we're a part by virtue of our being part of the tapestry of matter here on this plane. Really what we're saying is that we're turning over. We're saying we are here to be a facilitator for attuning to the neutral essence of the universe and beyond. And that's for me, every moment I go in a new situation, that's my opportunity. I say, oh, okay, great, nice to be here, everything going on, drop in. Tune me to that essence here in this moment, because that's the work that I'm here to do. That is my calling. To do that work of attuning to the fullest state of consciousness possible. Full consciousness. Great, now open up, space nice open. Check in at the base root. Just squeeze it ever so gently. For me, it just kind of, it's set right in. And for me, as soon as that set in, there was an immediate flow, connect, like faster than the speed of light. It just, this set into the wick, just went like that. Which for me is a big part. The more you cultivate this, it becomes like your water in a tap. You turn it on and the water's there. The water just flows right through. You don't have to wait an hour for the water to flow through. When you first do it, yeah, you've never tapped into that well. You got to turn it on. You got to make sure the plumbing works. It takes a little while, and then water comes out. Isn't that neat? Well, you do this every day. You do it every day. It's no different than going and turning on your shower. When I go here, I squeeze here, whoosh, flows right up and opens up. It's easy to say it like that after practicing it for a while. Yet at first, we cultivate, yet that's the key. That's why I say every couple hours, take a moment, open up, drop in. Whether your eyes are closed and you're in quiet, or whether you're around a lot of people and you just do it and just pretend to be with everybody. Great. Squeeze that again. Squeeze it in and just kind of drop it right in. I've been with some Taoists, some yogis that say all they do is keep this in this place. All day long they keep this held in this place because it activates a certain connective frequency waveform along the spine by keeping this here. In fact, I often tell people to drop in to still point, and I say drop into still point. And try to hold a thought or an emotion. It's not so easy. Well, someone came up to me at the Vegas retreat and they shared that they get still point, it feels really good, and yet when they go into still point, there's still a little nagging something. And so I said, okay, great. I said, so now try and let this be what you do throughout this retreat. Now, this is someone who comes to a lot of our seminars, very dedicated with the laser, very amazing human being, lovely person, advanced in their work person. And I said, now squeeze the root here at the base of the spine. Just squeeze it in and hold this right here. And he held it there, and I said, now check in and see if that thing is still going on. And he looked back at me at that moment. He looked back and he had a big smile on his face. And he said, no, I can't find it. I said, good. So now this is, for whatever reason, still point. I'm not saying still point's a definitive be-all thing. I'm saying have a repertoire of a few things that you do when the emotions or the thinking or the challenge comes. First thing I do is I try this. I drop in. If it doesn't work, it's like the laser. You do unwind. If that's not the right one, I switch pretty quick to quantum, something else. If that doesn't work, go right down here. Hold this root right here. Tell you, for me, as soon as I hold this, it's like energy, unity, flow, right up into here. This is a whole other practice on its own, just like dropping into still point, opening up still point space. That's a practice. Activation, still point activation. Flexing this muscle at the root and holding it here until energy starts to flow. It's like tapping into a well. Tap the well, water starts to go up. You tap this to neutrality. As soon as you start holding this in this neutral space, you're no longer leaking out through the outgoing sense faculty. That's the blessing of holding this root. So throughout the rest of the afternoon here, we're going to cover some different things. And I want to suggest, just like yesterday I kept saying, okay, drop in still point, drop in still point. Now we're in still point. I don't need to keep saying drop in still point because the room's nice rested. We've all cooked up some stuff. We're all nice resting here in still point. Now today, every so often, keep checking into this root at the base of the spine. Keep holding that in still point, in that neutral space. I'll tell you, some of the best days I have are when I can hold this all day long here like this. Only problem that those days have is someone doesn't like someone who's smiling. Which can happen here on planet Earth. But that's okay. You keep holding it, it won't matter very much. It's kind of like a great analogy of this is like a hose. If you had a hose running and you clamp the edge of the hose and the water starts backing up and the hose is filling up with pressure. Same thing. We're a hose. We're plugged into the neutral energy of the universe. If that energy is going out, well, you cultivate this and you hold this space right here, and that energy is going to start to no longer go out. It's going to start to build in, fill in, and inadvertently channel energy along the central column, staff of life. The medical symbol is a reference to this the medical symbol is an ancient symbol that refers to this process. I didn't make this process up. It's in every alchemy system the world has ever seen. India, South America, Egypt, Gnosticism, Kabbalah, they all have the picture of the medical symbol in some way, shape, or form, because that is a language that has traveled throughout the ages. To me, that symbol is the most perfect language I've seen on planet Earth. In fact, it's the language that, to me, every system, culture depicts, because it's a subtle language of the internal alchemy of the human faculty. Positive, negative, a perfect scalar wave along the spine, staff of life, the gland at the top that opens the ambrosia, the right and left frontal lobe opens up. That is a symbol of alchemy and transformation. Not only that, it's the very same, that language is what we translate through our firmware in our scalar wave laser, in the Wi-Fi. That's the very underlying essence that we weave through the light and through our Wi-Fi as well. And it's the same language we do here. We come here, and I'm still holding. Check in again. Just squeeze that base. For me, if I start at the perineal base, the perineum, the PC muscle area, and I squeeze in, and this, explore this for a moment, just like we did with the tongue at the roof of the mouth. In fact, you might want to place the tongue at the roof of the mouth also while you do this. Holding this at the base, and then the tongue at the roof of the mouth. See how you notice the difference in the shift of the energy. Okay, it shifts it a little bit, huh? Now see how that energy, you can move like we did earlier where the tongue goes to the front of the teeth, and near the teeth, or the back. Notice at which point you take a sigh. It could go in the middle, which is great for the heart central area. Notice if there's a place as you move it along where you feel the sacral area. I just moved to a place closer to the front near the teeth that, as I put it there, the sacrum kind of went. Now squeeze at the base. Squeeze the PC muscle, and have it not only at that base area, also include and embrace the whole sacral area. Sacral area inside the whole pelvic area, pubic bone, and just squeeze that whole area in a little bit. And just stop for a moment. If you hold it in that place and then release it a little bit, you might notice the energy will move to another area. Just explore when you go into this sacred, neutral essence space. Energy understands where to go. You might feel the whole legs kind of go. You might feel some saliva well up. Things settle out for a moment. Move the tongue around. Go in the front again, in the back, and see if a new area starts to open. All right, good. For me, I notice strong energy at the back sacral area shooting up the back of the spine, coming up to the occipital ridge. And then just drop into your quantum field. Just dissolve it all. Just say, great, good, nice. If you're ever not sure what to do, or maybe it's not working, or not feeling right, that's okay. Just welcome that. Whatever that is, just say, oh, geez. You don't feel like you're good enough, or you can't do it, or that's okay. Just say, great. Aloha. Thank you for showing up. Some discomfort in the body. Oh, geez. Hi, how are you? Aloha. Some strong sensation of energy that not sure if it's good or if it's not so good. That's okay. Say, great. Aloha. Thank you. For me to just squeeze root again in, out, dropped in, and the energy just went right up to the crown, right up to the lotus. So if you notice that, hold that root a little bit. Energy starts to flow up through the different centers and up the spine to the upper lotus, what many traditions refer to as the lotus body. The lotus opening, it opens, the different petals open to the entire quantum field, and a transforming quantum field into consciousness. Opening the heart. Tell you, you start a day, you can get dressed with your physical clothes and you can get dressed in the subtle body. You open up these centers. For me, this is what I like to don every day. It's important because we have different work to do in the new season, and we have to have the resources to achieve that work. To me, these openings of consciousness imbibe us with the sacred essence that is well versed to accomplish the work that has to be done here. All right, good. Then just drop right back in still point. Open up field. And just reset. Open the eyes for a moment. And just practice kind of integrating. A big part of this work is being able to integrate between being in a state of bliss and consciousness, and then, well, we're back right here again, and got people and outer phenomena. You got to be very comfortable going between, transitioning between those different kinds of places. All right, good. Let's bring the Wi-Fi up. Do we have a Wi-Fi back there? And maybe a laser. We're going to touch on a little bit of the Wi-Fi. If we have. How's everyone doing?
Great.
Yeah? Was lunch okay? Did everyone have a good lunch?
Oh, yummy.
Yeah?
Really nice. Thank you.
How was that process for people? Yeah?
It's like I was listening to your lecture today.
Yeah? Good. Me too. That's what's happened to me. Oh, good. Thank you, Joe. Anyone holding that root? How is that? Bring a microphone. How is that? Anyone want to share about holding the root? I tell you, this little thing is really powerful. This practice of holding this root is worth its weight in gold, in monoatomic gold. No pun intended, because you hold this, and it's going to release high-spinning ether. In fact, this session I want to talk about Ormus, high-spinning electrons, ether, plasma, and how we cultivate that. If you want to cultivate something on planet Earth, there is no more special, precious commodity than high-spinning ether. And that's what we're going to focus on in this next session here. Yes?
Every time that I squeeze the root,
Yeah.
I do feel the energy come right up to the occiput
Beautiful.
and flower out.
Beautiful.
So it feels really nice
Beautiful.
to keep.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna
Beautiful.
work on that.
Beautiful. Keep cultivating it.
Yeah, I felt the same thing, but then it went even further up into here,
Great.
and it felt like my eyes opened up and
Yes.
I expanded,
Yes.
but grounded at the same time.
Yes.
So it felt very fluid to me,
Yes.
and that squeezing, it's like this elevator going, oh,
Yeah.
penthouse.
Yeah. That's right. That's exactly right.
It's nice riding the elevator of life.
That's right.
Where I choose to put my energy.
That's right.
Yeah, thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Tell you this, and the key is keeping it. You know, a lot of systems are about breathing and activating it, so it blows out your psyche. You know, and or squeezing it really hard. This is very subtle. This is the practice of very subtle, and just hold. So much so that when I do this, I hold it, and then the sacrum kind of gets pulled in, and then each of these other different bond nexus points start to go like this and tune in. This tunes in, and the whole experience is now a neutral. What we're really talking about is becoming neutral capacitors for the energy of the universe. Superconductive. It's really what we're talking. If these things are out of sync and they're all vibrating all like this, well, guess what? Then you're tuned to the planet, or you're tuned to the astral plane, the stars, or you're tuned to the thought and the thinking plane, which is all not bad stuff. Yet to me, I want to be tuned to the one state, consciousness, and expression. Anyone else want to share? Thank you both. Thank you. About holding the root. As you do this today, start at the perineum, the base of the perineum. Very often for me, when I squeeze the base of the perineum, it just flows right up and it just opens up. I could be in a situation, and a little challenging situation, I just squeeze, whoosh. And then other situations like today, I'm kind of holding the whole area, the sacrum, until the other. See if you can notice your legs, everything kind of go in, get settled into that. And just hold it, keep holding it. And then relax it a little bit, keep holding it. Yes.
I think that holding the root made it all different for me
Yes.
because it started to vibrate
Yes.
and it started to go up, and then my started saliva
Yes.
really well, and then the purple light came. It's
Beautiful.
great.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Nancy. Anyone else? Yes, Kalan. Tell you, this is what we have to, the children, Essie picks this, I share these different things with Essie, and I tell you, this is what everyone here has been learning, to use the brain. We need to learn how to use this faculty. Yes, Kalan.
About
I think he's vibrating, he's attuning.
about 5 years ago, I went through a divorce, a separation, and I decided that I needed to go to India to kind of process this. And I found this old tattered copy of Mantak Chia, Cultivating Male Sexual Energy.
Yes.
I decided I would be celibate for 2 years, and I took this book on this life journey with me and started practicing some of this stuff and working with the root. And I noticed that initially when I started practicing, when I started to raise the energy up my spine, I could feel the blockages that were there, and over time these blockages would open up and it would get easier and easier to bring the energy, raise the kundalini up into my crown chakra and hold that energy here. And I started cultivating this practice. Now it just flows right up and flowers and saliva starts coming out. It's pretty beautiful stuff. I highly recommend it.
You know, that is beautiful, Kalan. That is beautiful. Thank you. And I think that's one of the things to me that makes me really drawn to sharing it and to sharing this approach to it, is that it can be, these teachings in many ways have been shared in a way where it's this arduous practice removed from the worldly stuff. And to me, when we approach it as something that's a natural, imbued part of our reality and existence, it's a really easy thing that doesn't require, it's just natural. It's beautifully natural. And what affirms that to me is seeing how many people drop in. It doesn't take 40 years, 20 years in the Himalayas. It doesn't. It really doesn't. When you have a simple reference and welcome things, this energy wants to go here. Like the flower. The flower doesn't need some major teacher or some major treatise or some major practice. The flower's purpose in nature is the flower. The human condition, to me, the purpose in nature, obviously, if you look at any comparative study of traditions, cultures, religion, etc., is to flower into consciousness and back to some source. It's just perfectly natural. So thank you for your quest, your journey. And it is a journey. We all have gone along the way. And to me now we're at that moment where the planet is ripening and it's saying, well, okay, all of you, now is the moment. Now we're in the spring. We're here, we're in the spring, and the flowers need to open. We need to open and share our unique essence that we each have. So thank you. Thank you. Was there one more person who wanted to share about the root and holding the root? Drop back in, kind of welcome it in again, and just kind of. I tell you, let me say something, because this holding this root, I tell you, major back injuries. I've told people dealing with major spinal cord injury. You know, spinal cord injuries, notoriously, the spinal cord gets inflamed. The inflammation is hard to get out, which renders the nerve very hard to get back. You want to immediately release inflammation, drop this in, get energy, circuitry flowing along the spine. Major people with knee injuries, back injuries, major health challenges. You put this in place here, now someone is now getting energy. I mean, I joked with someone, I said we could turn our laser into 1 point. Perineum. And just laser people until they unwind that point. That happens, and now energy is starting to flow and build. That's how powerful this one place is. And again, it's different from my perspective than the energy of Kundalini. This is not a Kundalini process. It's not a major breathwork process. It's a very subtle, hey, this is our anatomy. The universe is woven of neutral essence. This is our way just to say, oh, okay, hey, go cultivate some of this. Good. All right. See, very subtle difference here. Drop in here. I can hold here and also hold here. Play around. We've been covering a bunch of things and freeform it in between every so often. What I'm saying, important, more important, practice, cultivate a few things. As we move into the afternoon, I want to touch a bit on alchemy. How many people here have a Wi-Fi, have a still point? Really, I call this still point field inducer. To me, this is, we use the name Wi-Fi at first. I used to call it the quantum field inducer, and with the abbreviation for that was Wi-Fi, kind of like a little play on Wi-Fi. But to me, really what this is, more so than that, a lot of people on our network use it for balancing out EMFs, things like Wi-Fi, things like cell phone towers and smart meters and various electromagnetic harsh EMF pollution, strong emotions and things going on in space around us. To me, how I use it is, to me, is a way to activate. It's a portal. I use it as a way to open up space. And my goal in opening up space is all centered around ether. To me, ether is the key essence that weaves everything into existence. And I use the certain words like still point, like neutrality, prana, chi, quantum, ether. To me, they all qualify in alchemy what's referred to as the fourth state. Every alchemist, every system, and there are many different teachings. Keep that root nice and. Many teachings, many traditions that have. There's like where they call the founder of carpenter. That's a common theme in different traditions. There's a carpenter. And to me, if you study comparative religion, carpenter is not the translation. If you go back and study, the translation is craft. Craft, which is an ancient reference to alchemy. Maybe they did some woodwork. Yet you don't become connected back to the source without a major dedication to the process of alchemy. And alchemy, to give a very basic overview of alchemy, is based in an understanding of their different states of matter. In every view of alchemy, there are four key states of matter. There's solid, there's liquid, there's gas, and there's ether or plasma. And this is really important because if we want to be working with the subtle faculty, with the subtle body, we've got to understand what it is that we're working with. Because physical bodies and people traditionally are working with physical things, solid, liquid, and gas. Those are the primary things, commodities of our planet right now. The work of the subtle practitioner and facilitator, the commodity is ether. Our major resource and tool is ether. Plasma, chi, neutrality, whatever we want to call it. And I want to qualify, to me, the only difference of those different states, those states are really the same thing, just like water that trickles down through different media. Well, the only difference between solid, liquid, gas, and ether is the electron spin. If the electron spin is very slow, you have something that takes on solid form. If electron spin goes a little faster, that phase shifts. Now you have something that's liquid in nature. If electron spin goes faster, it goes into a gaseous state, gas. When electrons go into what are called the superconductive state, in science they call it Brownian motion, they call it a Cooper pairing, they call it a monoatomic or an ORMUS state, which stands for orbitally rearranged. That energy shifts into the fourth state of matter. Those are scientific phrases that describe substance in that state. And all alchemists, they often refer to it as mana. Old Testament referred to it as mana. It's a substance. They lived on mana. Mana was a high-spinning substance. Philosopher's stone. Ancient traditions, cultures called it shrew bread, or what is it, shrew bread, something like this. And they call it starfire. Numerous traditions call it starfire. This is a substance which abounds in the universe. Our universe is is largely comprised of plasma. Our bubble here on planet Earth has slowed down the condition to the point where matter, ether, is not as prevalent as it is everywhere else in the universe, which has enabled things to coagulate into the solid, liquid, gaseous state which forms our bodies. So that's a blessing and a challenge. And so in my journey, in my work on a daily basis, my goal is, how do I get that high-spinning ether into my experience as much as possible? How do I work with that matter as much as possible? It's the reason I'm drawn to lasers. Lasers, and particularly the way that we design our lasers, have a effect of activating high spin. Most lasers I use don't have the effect of activating that high spin superconductive state. In my life, I'm looking with everything I do, how do I activate that high spinning state? What foods do I eat to activate that state? Why? Because we are woven of that high spinning state. I'll tell you the substances in the body that are woven of high spinning electrons. White matter in the brain, high spinning electrons. Cerebral spinal fluid, high spinning electrons. Lymph, high spinning electrons. Sexual fluids, high spinning electrons. The glands, the secretions from the glands, high spinning electrons. Your bone, high spinning electrons, crystalline state. Your teeth, your hair, the fluids in the cell. All of these different stem cells, telomeres, all of these different what I call nonlinear processes of the body are all driven by high spinning energy. So to me, there is one true panacea to all challenges in the body. That is having the quantum field open. Everyone go ahead, take a nice big breath. And drop right in. Drop the sacrum for a little bit. And just drop into the quantum field. See, when this field is opened, we are efficiently now plugged in to plasma. And so I trust implicitly, if I'm in this state, well, great, the blood is getting what it needs for white blood cell stem cells. The lymph is active in getting what it needs. Bone, teeth, they're activating and tuning into the superconductivity of the universe. The hair, all the high spinning energy along the spine. If this is open, we're nourishing high spinning condition in the body. If this is shut down in the body and the thinking and the emotions, guess what? Now the body is going through a power grab to get the energy that's here. Same thing on our planet. When the planet is shut off, which it has been relatively to the higher dimensions energy of the universe, well, what happens? There's a power grab for the oil. Whatever energy is here is what we're stuck with. We got to deal with that. And everyone's going and grabbing it and destroying the planet in the process. As soon as enough of us burst the bubble of the third dimension and we start to open up to the true essence of free energy, regenerative physics, our proper place in the universe in coordination with other beings in the universe, we're going to have to start to say, all right, enough. We're not going to take any more of the energy of the physical here. We don't want to destroy this wonderful place. Let's tap into the boundless energy of the cosmos. Much more suitable, appropriate response to the condition, situation we're in. So, to achieve that, one of the primary things that I use nowadays, and the reason I developed this technology, is the still point field inducer. To me, this technology is an incredible way to open up the space wherever I am, in a hotel room, at home. It works hundreds of feet around, if not more, from my perspective. And it's primarily doing one key thing to everything in its space. It's activating the electron spin condition and everything to reorganize and start to go like this and to start to attune to neutrality and ether. We use little, not a laser, we use little crystal oscillators, and in particular our scalar technology to induce space to open. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on and just give you a little kind of reference of as a session how I use this. I do it, at least lately I do it several occasions a day. I try to do it at least once a day. I always start same as everything, take a moment, drop in. You can plug this into the wall or you can plug it into a laser. I'm going to go through a couple of programs. Just want people to tune in and see if they notice it when it's on. I keep this button right in the middle. This one has 6 different settings. And just see if you notice. Just go back to your field and just check in and see what do you notice. Do you notice any response? This one's unwind. For me, I notice an immediate kind of like a breeze, just kind of a nice unwind. Anyone else notice that? Very subtle, just kind of like, Not going to stay here long. I want to kind of show you a little more advanced on what I do when I use this. This one's quantum. Just notice if you notice any difference. Feels different, yeah? To me, this one totally different. This one's like quantum field, just opens up still point, nice neutral space. When I use this, I'm very conscious. I'm not trying to tune other people around me, but I am consciously aware of tuning everything else. Things like the wood, the cement, the land, the nature. My goal is to tune everything, open up ether. To me, ether is prevalent, say, when you go to the ocean, there's a lot of ether. When you go on a mountain or out in nature where there's no cell phone towers, no people thinking, you feel that rush, that sense of, wow, this is beautiful. That's where ether is vibrant. And under the stars at night. Last night at dinner, it was like, wow. Of course. Don't be sorry. So to me, this opens up and reactivates that ether. How does it do it? Same way we do when we drop into still point. We're converging different waveforms into one point, which opens up space. Why is that important? Because when we pinprick into that third dimensional fabric of contraction, ether starts to fill in. This doesn't create the ether. The ether is all around us. We just need to kind of open up the space to allow it to start gushing in, which is the same thing that happens when we drop into still point. If we're conditioned to be thinking based on the physics around us, well then we're just not tapping into our resource and potential to drop into still point, to open up through our own field the flow of ether into this planet. That's quantum. This is a nice one. If I were doing this, I'd say, oh, this is nice. We like to put our food, when I eat food, I like my food to be nice and charged, tuned up. I'm not trying to energize the food. I'm trying to open the food so it's now, my goal is not to do anything to things except to unwind them so they become their natural state, which is a tuned, you see, once again, everything in matter, it's like you jump into the ocean. Well, you jump in, you got to go through the surface, then you got to go down deeper, and you got to go to the different layers. Well, you come into the universe, and you got to come through the universal state. You got to go into the galactic state if you're in this galaxy, then into the star system and arrive on the planet. The true condition of that thing is that it has a layer comprised of the matter, the energy, the essence of every state that it came through to arrive here. That's the truth. All we're saying is, well, we've had enough of this fascination of just being this thing down here, which isn't based in any real trueness. and saying, well, let's just kind of invite it to unravel so it can open up and let those other more essential qualities fill in the space, which makes it all essential. Good program for charging up water. You have some nice water you want to charge up, your supplements. Feels good, yeah? Feels exactly no different than what we've been doing here, right? It's almost like I almost don't notice the difference that much here. Normally when we do it in groups, it's like, whoa, they feel it. Here, this is what we've been doing the whole while, but you can still feel it a little bit. Yes?
Actually, I was kind of surprised after squeezing the root
Yes.
and doing everything we're doing.
Yes.
I opened my eyes and checked my lungs, and I really couldn't breathe in this room very well.
Really?
Yes, and I was really surprised by that.
Mm.
And suddenly you put the Wi-Fi on, and I can breathe.
Yes. Good, good. We have a lot of people who claim that this helps them with mold areas, and the way that it does that is not it doing it. It does it because when ether comes in, ether is, on planet Earth, higher dimensions of oxygen. O2 is oxygen, O3 is ozone, O4 up to O20 and higher aron. So you have different states of oxygen that turn into plasma. Every element has higher dimensional states that are plasma. All we want to do is get those back into play. That's all this is doing. This is just saying, well, gee, if you have oxygen, well, do you want to only have oxygen, or do you want to have all those higher dimensional states of oxygen? Well, gee, you have a body. Do you want to have body, or do you want to have all those states of higher dimensional bliss and subtle body? That's the goal of this technology. I don't go around telling this. I tell everyone else everywhere it's EMF protection. I don't use it for EMF protection barely at all. It works great on EMF protection. Yet to me, there is no EMF challenge when you are oscillating to the energy of the universe, because it's way stronger than I don't know, some wires in the wall. It's not that strong when you're plugged in. Great stories of yogis, who go. One teacher I was with at one point would go to South America, and they said that there were big storms, and the teachers would show up, and all the storms, they just stop. The atoms, everything would just stop. Why great teachers, people come near them, they get healed. Because the condition of their physics is so stable in this higher dimensional space, it just rearranges things. To them, it's not really a miracle, it's physics. Okay, we go to the next one. Activate.
So that's number 2.
Yeah, first one is unwind. Second is quantum. Third one, activate. Now check in with activate. This is a really good one for this moment. Just open your field and see how do you feel energy. For me, I feel it right at the root. Kind of goes, and then energy starts activating up along, flowing up the spine. Anyone notice that a little bit? Whole sacral area kind of pulse. Some days I get to the Wi-Fi, and I go through. I just go through each one, kind of unwind. Oh, that feels good. Quantum. I wait till I feel the one that has like, oh, that feels good. Me and Essie do together, and our little joke is we try each one till we both start smiling. And almost always there's one of them, and it tells you the physics of a place. There's one where we'll both start smiling, and we just leave that one on, and we just sit. And to me, this is what is this doing? Whereas this is working on the body, the injury situations. This, to me, is tuning this field. And this field goes out. If I'm in a hotel, I want to tune the whole space around. Not because I want to affect anyone else. I want to tune it. I'd rather if I'm going to be affected by Wi-Fi and all the other stuff, I just soon push back and say, well, let's get some ether in here to help me handle what's going on. All right, that's activate. I'm going to go, we're going to do one or two more. This one's unity. This is the one I'd pick today if I were doing it. It immediately put me into a, that's exactly what I wait for to tell me which one is the one I feel you feel the still point response? That's nice. So this is a great companion tool to work with when you're doing this work of opening up your field. I tell people, it's not something to be used as a way to open the field to me, because it's really important that we, as we've been doing all week, and have the ability to drop in and dissolve. And yet it's a really nice tool as a transformational technology to assist I look at it as a tuning technology to tune all the things that are around, including the dimensional space. You live with other people. Well, guess what? They're pulling the dimensional space into what they feel is appropriate for them in their work. Well, for me, I want to make sure I can have things that can, no other company is caring so much about how it affects the space. Cell phones, Wi-Fi, electric companies, all these technologies have no consideration about their effect on the ether and space. Check in right here. Check in as we're doing this. Open the field. I use it as a conscious technology. I'm not saying, hey, you do this for me. I'm saying, oh, gee, let's see how. Open the field. Drop in. Check at the root. Energy at the root opens up to here in the saliva. Move tongue a little bit in the back, in the front. Exactly the same like we do with the pelvic area or the feet. Same thing with the tongue. Forward. Back. Notice if you notice a place where you dissolve in that process. Or in the middle. Nice. All right, good. That's unity. That one feel good for people? That one just kind of took you right there. I turn it off for a moment. Every so often, when I turn something off, it kind of, for me, the residue of what opened there just kind of went more. Always look to that when you're done, with transformational technologies. This is how we make sure, well, gee, whose experience is this really? I look at technology as something that's, and when I by technology, I don't just mean things like this. I mean things like the elements here, the technology in nature. I look at all of this as conscious, it's stewards of consciousness. So I don't look to a technology to be something that does something for me. I always look at technology, my preference is, and no other company is considering this, my goal in all technology is that it should be ether-based technology, based on induction physics. Most technology is busy separating the poles from an electrical standpoint and also in its effect on ether. We're still using the kind of electricity that's here still, yet we do a lot when we develop our lasers to make sure that even though they're using that alternating current type technology, that they are also inducing and opening up the space of neutrality to more than compensate for any effect that could be happening from the traditional alternating current. And we do a lot to make sure it's very low EMF and as biocompatible. This is key if we're going to get really real with free energy and travel in the cosmos. We've got to, every civilization reaches a point where technology is either going to be something that is harming our planet and really harming our ether. We can't grow in consciousness if we're harming ether. There's no way. You can't destroy neutrality in your environment and grow in consciousness. Which is why this work of facilitating still point, we have to understand what our work is. Our work is not with people, truly. Our work is with ether. And inviting ether, and people will come. Why? Because people are designed in and for and of and around and in blessing of ether. The fifth element, the neutral essence, substance, thread of the universe. Okay, we're going to do one more. This is cohere. I noticed this one right away up on the crown, just lotus kind of open. Opens the heart. What I look for a response and then for it to kind of pop me in. That response is kind of clearing anything and then set me right in there. Come home from a busy day or a lot of stuff. Get this on. Great. Let's just tune in and integrate into the fabric of our home, of our space. That's nice. Anyone like that one? Yes.
What's the last one that you had it set on, Paul?
Unity.
Unity. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Unity. Unity is powerful. Cohere. That's nice, yeah? We did an event in San Diego recently at a very dedicated and lovely man who runs a warehouse. It's in a business park.
So,
Yeah. Into this warehouse. You go in, we said, oh, we're going to a warehouse. So we go in, drive in the warehouse. Inside, it's like this cosmic warehouse. And he runs the Wi-Fi, and we did an event there recently, and it was very sweet. It was a ton of people from that area, and the whole room just transported. It was like that business park just took off to another experience, and that to me is very much what this technology is. It's a tool to take dimensional spaces, decompress them, and align them back to wherever they are naturally and fully. Check in as we're here, and check in. See what you noticed. You notice the base. You notice the energy along the spine, the ambrosia. I noticed, we haven't touched so much on this yet, I noticed this lotus body flowering, just kind of opening up here. We're going to touch on this a bit tomorrow. Just kind of the petals kind of opening up. This one's wave. I'm just going to do this for one moment. This one's wave. That constitutes the various ones that come with it. Unwind, quantum, activate, unity, cohere, and then wave. I'm not going to do this one for long. I always finish when I do this. I always finish on quantum for a moment. I just drop into quantum. This is the exact same. Does this seem like something else? Any similarities with anything else? This process, what do I finish every process with? I drop back into still point in the quantum field. I say, okay, let's ground whatever we did right back in here. I might have opened up all this, and great, let's integrate it in. If it's real, it'll still be here. In fact, truly, this technology, if you really look at it, and I didn't really plan it this way, it just happened on its own. Does it seem a little similar to something? What's the first one? Unwind. Welcoming something until it starts to unwind. Second one, quantum. What is that one like? Still point. Activate. What is that one like? Activating energy along the spine. Unity. What does that one kind of do? Kind of opens up. Cohere. Opens up the lotus. And literally, I kid you not when I say I didn't plan that. Yeah, I didn't plan that. At least I didn't think about it. Maybe on some level I it arrived in that way. It arrived like that. Which is great. I tell you, to me, the most wonderful things that happen are the things that we don't have to think about. And they arrive and it's like, my goodness, how perfect is that? That's to me when the real wonder of this whole play is there. How do we arrive with the people we're with? You know, of all the stars and galaxies and how do we manifest with the people? You know, that's just far out. It's beautiful. I didn't want this to look like a spaceship. I resisted every possible option of it. I didn't want it to look like an Area 51 souvenir. So I had made it with, there's these antennas in there, and it looked much different. It looked like this, a cone. It looked like really cool when I started. Well, the antennas, we couldn't get the right angle to get the effect. So my engineers came up with, well, if we do this, that they can sit the antenna like this, and then they all converge on a point. So they brought me the design they took what we had and it morphed into this, and I looked at it and it had the right effect, but I said, no, it's not right. It looks like a spaceship. It's not a spaceship. It's not what we're supposed to do. So one day I went on this was like 2 days after this happened. I'm just reflecting on it at this point. I'm saying, okay, well, this is what the universe brought. So I go on this website that I go to occasionally called Red Ice Creations. Red Ice, if you do a Google search Red Ice, it's out of somewhere in Scandinavia. It's a great website. I get all my news from Red Ice, you know. It's not too hardline conspiracy, but it's got some cool vantage points on what's happening here. And it's good. It's not really out there. It's a little out there. In any event, I go on Red Ice, and I go on maybe once every few weeks. If I go, I better check Red Ice to see, are there any solar flares coming in? That's the kind of information it gives, you know. So I go on there, and there's a picture of a spaceship in, I don't know, there's literally a picture of it from, I don't know, Ukraine or I don't know where the heck it was, somewhere. And the spaceship picture was an exact replica of what the engineers came up with. I mean, like, it is exact dimensions, almost exact. And I saw that and I said, okay, all right, fine, you win. I kid you not when I say I really did not want it to look like a spaceship. And yet that's what it looks like. And to me, the more I use it and see how, initially I designed it as a tool just to help drop into still point. The more I use it, it's so much more than that. It's a tool to transport. It is a spaceship, sort of. It's a tool to transport things dimensionally to wherever the operator consciously stewards. which is cool. It's really cool. I mean, I don't know. But it's not something I go around telling people when we're doing seminars and things. They would be like, what? Why would I need that? You know?
Or you hide it in the furniture.
Right.
Well, I've experienced when the heart is activated
Yes,
and it starts spinning,
yes,
that's the feel that it makes.
yes. Beautiful. Yes. Yeah.
I was very happy to see it.
It's cool. It's cool. If anyone wants, go on Red Ice and scroll, keep going back. I haven't tried to do this since I saw it, but somewhere in their ongoing blog roll of news and information, you'll see a spaceship, and they copied our design. No, I'm
It's a confirmation.
You say ice,
Red Ice.
ice.
Yes, like ice. Yep.
Icy?
Yep. No, ICE. Red Ice. Technically, they used to be Red Ice. I always just Google Red Ice. It'll be the first thing that pulls up. Now I believe they changed the name Red Ice Creations or something. But it's good stuff. It's a good site. That's the story of the still point field inducer.
Well, when you turned it on quantum, they made me sneeze. I had such a whiff of flower smell.
You did?
I'm allergic.
Oh, this is good. You did too. Oh, good. This is another great point. I'm so glad you.
I think, because there was nothing before, and all of a sudden I thought, oh God, and it felt like it was kind of, I have to sneeze, I'm sorry, but I just had to.
Oh, it's okay. You don't have to be
It
sorry.
just came out, it just-
Not a
And
problem.
another thing with that, I had a lipstick plant, I'm sure it's 10 years we've had it. Never bloom, never bloom. When I got my little quiet-fire, I thought, okay, little plant you, but let's see if you're gonna work with this. Honest to God, a week later, it just bloomed and bloomed, and I forgot that picture. It's so beautiful, and that's why my doctor, he bought it. I said, look what this quiet-fire does. It makes your flowers bloom. And his wife said, oh, we gotta have one. She says, I said, yeah, your flowers are gonna bloom. Look how nice this plant is. Oh, we gotta get one. She says.
Bravo.
Can't take it up.
I know.
I didn't pick it up. It was really
This is a great point, and it goes right to another key, to me, attribute of this technology. A key benefit to this technology is that, to me, everyone's comfortable with the regular senses of the physical world. You know, every yoga tradition, alchemy tradition, says that the subtle body has its own senses. The subtle body has subtle senses for inner light, inner and outer light, inner and outer sound, smell, taste. So many traditions talk about when you go and you're near the yogi or the great saint, they smell flowers and fragrance, because that state of consciousness is inducing these subtle senses. And I tell you, we have been doing this in many places. In every event that we do, we were in London, 4 people said they smelled roses in a room about 100 people. Every event that we do, people say, oh, they see something, they see lights, they smell, saliva. For me, saliva kicks in when I turn it on. I mean, that's to me why I know why I want it. I turn it on and it induces energy flowing, this subtle. I like opening up subtle senses. To me, subtle senses are make life way more refined and sweet than just going around and waiting till, you know, the physical senses, they don't. The yogis say the physical senses, they're unattractive once you reach the subtle condition, because they pull you away from subtlety back into coarseness. And the subtle senses pull you towards consciousness. So again, another key attribute. But again, to me, the most important component to this is a tool to activate ether. I want to activate ether in everything around me. If you're not activating ether, guess what? Everything around you is going to be pulling you. When you pull it, kick in a little ether, everything around you is going to be, oh, give me some of that. It's going to pull it. So right now, the good news on planet Earth right now is that 2012, in the moment where we're in, we've shifted, and now this place is turning into a teeming place of ether. Whereas this place was a place where it was on the run in the last age season, now it's coming to a moment when ether neutrality is back in. It's starting to flow in. And I see our work as a community, as a network, as a global network. To me, our goal, our community, is based in one thing. How many of us can we get going around taking very, I look at my world as every day, how do I take a couple, there's this, yogis call it the veil or the knot. A lot of yogis call it there's a knot. And that knot separates people, keeps them in this third dimension. And if you don't pierce that knot, you can't open up into the higher dimensions and the flow of that experience of reality. And so to me, every day I look, well, how many different places in my life can I just do a little pinprick in that veil, in that knot? When can I take a moment and drop in? That is a pinprick in it. When can I use the laser for a moment and start to unwind? Oh, that's a pinprick in it. Oh, when can I turn on the Wi-Fi and pinprick in that veil? Oh, when can I do a little quanticize? You see, everything I do, I need to do all these things to keep pinpricking away at this thing. What food do I eat? What foods can I eat that are high-spinning ormus? To me, let's touch on diet here for one moment. Then we'll take a little break in a moment, and then we'll come back and do one more short session today. Everyone go ahead, take a nice big breath in. So this is the Wi-Fi, new technology. Yes, sir?
You took about using the knobs to get those settings.
Yes, that's a great question. There are two knobs on here. Thank you very much. There are two knobs on here. The one on the right is a fine-tuning knob. If you're looking at it, the one on the right is a fine-tuning knob.
The one on the left, you mean? No, right, no, when you look at it,
Like, when
If you're if you're
looking at it on the right.
yeah, if you're looking at it, you better bring it to me.
Bring it so.
It's relative, I suppose.
No.
So if you're looking at it, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Thank you. If you're looking at it, the one on the right, we'll start on the right, is 6 different settings.
Where do they begin?
Horizontal. There's a horizontal line.
Okay, so about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll be unwind.
That would be unwind. Horizontal at that level place.
Yeah, unwind.
Yeah, you'll see which one unwind.
On some Wi-Fi, they reverse.
Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be. But if you find the one that's pulsing, that's unwind.
Okay.
The next one is quantum from there to the right. Next one, activate. Yeah, dialing to the right. Quantum, activate, unity, cohere, and wave. Yeah, and then on the left is a fine-tuning dial. I keep it in the middle, though you can play around. If you find one like unwind that you like, just like we do with the tongue or with anything else, just go this way. Oh, this feels really good. Some occasions I'll get there and I'll be like, this feels pretty good, but I got to do, and I'll fine-tune it and say, that's great, and just leave it there. Does that make sense? Now, we are going to be making some changes to this. We launched this in Arizona, and when we launched it, we were so overwhelmed with people wanting it that we went into production really before it was finalized. And so there are some fine-tunings, but we have to not, in order to make the mold changes, which can take a couple of months, the molds that make this, we have to put it out of production in order to make the changes, to change a couple of the dials and the ways that it works. So we're now in the process of buying a lot of the parts so we can then take a couple months and really make the schematic changes and cut the new mold so that we have it's a little bit different. So this is where it's at right now. A lot of people do ask, geez, can there be more information? Can there be more this? And my response is, well, no. And there's some reasons why I'm not giving more information with it. The first one is that if we list out unwind, if we list out different things, there's a number of countries which will say, unwind what? And they will start to say, well, that's a medical device. Could be numbers. For me, this is a nonlinear technology. And I know for some people, it's not for everyone. It's for people, and so to me, it doesn't even matter to me. I could care less what the name of it is or what it is. For me, what's important is try it. What's the effect? Does it have that effect? That said, we are implementing another system to it. Eventually, the plan is to have 3 versions of this. Now that we're manufacturing, we can start doing some neat things. One small, we already have a prototype of a small version that's got one program Doesn't have a bunch of programs. It just has one that's a really good combination program that you can put in your car. You can plug it in.
Oh, wow.
This is the mid version, which was really designed to be run through the laser, not so much to have knobs. If I had designed it over, I would have not had the knobs. And the next one's a little bit bigger for really big centers, neighborhoods, and that has a key panel in there, and you can program and do different things with it. So that's the bigger picture version of where the technology is going. So this is just where it is right now. This was really a beta test version, and after that Phoenix event a year and a half ago, we just had so many orders, we just went into production on it. Yes?
When you've got the laser plugged into it, you're controlling, you can control
Correct.
the frequency.
Correct.
Using unwind quantum from
Yeah.
the laser.
Correct.
Does it matter where the dial
No.
is if you've got it plugged in?
Nope.
So the
Nope.
right dial really doesn't do anything
Nope.
if it's plugged into your laser.
Correct.
No.
Correct. Correct. Yes.
Could you mention what wave is? 'Cause it's,
Yeah, Wave is a great program. It's great. It decompresses things. It connects things to the universe. Remember you recall the wave we all tuned into? Wave to me is that. Once the quantum field is nice and open, Wave kind of takes the quantum field and dissolves the quantum field out. It's a great program. I didn't do it just then because my Lotus was so open. If I went any further, I would have not had any more things to organize. Here, Christian. Yes, I don't want to focus. I want to shift gears. So we'll take one or two more, and then I want to keep going. Yes.
So based on the shape of what I see, are you creating a toroidal field with this thing?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. I didn't mean that to come out. Yes, absolutely. I'm creating whatever fields and structures are appropriate to take what's here, reorganize, shift it. Absolutely. And I'm cognizant when I'm using it of that dimensional reorganization. I mean, this is, to me, a profound tool for, people talk about what's happening on planet right now with ascension and different things. This is a profound tool to reorganize dimensional terrain. And really, to me, my attraction is not really ascension to the fifth plane, the fifth dimension, or something else. It's really about dissolving all dimensions. My attraction is dissolving all dimensions to the dimensionless state. Then you can be any dimension at any point. If you only go to this dimension, then guess what? You end up resisting another. Then you got to come back later into this dimension, and that just perpetuates the process of circumventing. There's a lot of New Age folks who are really into this dimension, but they don't like anything in this dimension. Well, guess what? The universe is real good at flipping you back around in the blink of an eye. Might seem like we're having a nice age here yet, but blink an eye and we're back in other age. I'm not into that deal. That's not my arrangement. I'm into, hey, well, great. Any dimension, you're welcome here, so long as you're open to collapsing back into the nonlinear. I love the third dimension. Yet it needs to be able to collapse and integrate into the fifth dimension and into the non-dimension and into any other dimension that happens to be in the flow form of expression and reality. Yes?
How much do you run the Wi-Fi for?
I don't do any usually ever more than half hour, 40 minutes, hour at most. For me, I really use it as a tuning technology. I don't use it as something to rely on. Unless I'm in a hotel and there's something going on, or you're having a real issue with, someone's visiting you and they're just like here and you can tune it and it's like, okay, gosh, let's stay, that for me. But I don't put that out there that should be you. You check in with your field and you kind of figure out, well, what makes the most sense? My goal in making it, and I was very reticent to make this technology. I wanted it for me, yet I was very reticent about, Lily knows this, I was very reticent about passing it on for two reasons. One, in the New Age world, there's a lot of people that get very into trying to fix everything around them. And for me, that perpetuates a psychic condition. And that's not my goal at all. And I don't want to contribute to that kind of experience. The other was to have something that people rely on. That's not true. We don't need technology to rely on. Yet amidst the technology of the things we're dealing with on planet Earth, we have to have some tools in our arsenal to combat and offset some of the really debilitating things like smart meters, like things that are really sending waveforms that are debilitating to the neutral essence quantum field state. And that's why I eventually pushed on and said, okay, we're going we're gonna have this. Yes, yes.
Support told one of my people not to run it more than 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, support is now in Arizona. That's a good case in point. I've never heard of that. Yeah, I tell people openly, I go short. I like 20 minutes, 40 minutes, but I never tell anyone what to do. You'll notice one thing about me. I never tell people what to do with our technology. In fact, a lot of people get upset that I don't tell them more what to do, but I don't want to tell people what to do. How do I know what to do more than you? You manifested your experience. I didn't manifest your experience. How can I know more what to do than you, who's really good at manifesting your experience, or you wouldn't be here, kind of deal. So I'm really, really clear about that. Yes. You have a follow-up?
One more question.
Yeah, I can see. Go
What will
ahead.
the difference be between the new Wi-Fi and the one we have now?
The different sizes will be relative to having the medium one. In terms of, it's going to be very similar. The only difference will be right now the knob goes all the way around, and it won't, and it'll be more clear with what you're doing with it. It will be more clear. It might not be as clear as some people want, but it will be more clear.
Thank you.
I always tell people, there's a lot of technologies in Walmart or anywhere else that will have a little manual and tell you exactly what to do. And if that's not what we do. That's not, and the other thing I always say to people, because a lot of people say, well, gee, where's all the training and can you have this? And I say, go check out other cold lasers. No one gives out more training than we do. We don't put it in a little book because regulatory, different countries will say that's not pain relief, that's organ stuff or this. So we do it in a way that is nonlinear, yet we give out with our conference calls, live streams, free seminars, retreats. We give out more information about how to use this, not just for the physical, but for a lot.
Yeah.
So when you hear a customer and they're saying, gee, complaining or something like this, it's really important for emissaries to kind of use your experience. I've been with other companies. Kalan's been with other companies. We do a tremendous amount. Exactly. Cecile's been with other companies. We have a lot that we give people. And, part of that is our people wanting to grow and be empowered and grow into their nonlinear state. Because my goal is to train a lot of people to feel perfectly comfortable to make choices, whether you're with the laser, whether you're using this, or any other tool, or ether. Everyone, tell you, your best tool you can find, ether. There's no finer tool to work on your condition than pulling in ether. And every yogi will tell you the same, they'll call it prana. Every Taoist will do the same, they'll call it chi. The alchemist does the same. Every spiritual practitioner the world over talks about the substance. They have different names for it in different traditions. Yes, in the back.
To your question about the 20 minutes, I had one, my friend left the Wi-Fi overnight, turned it off. But for me, I see minimum of 12 people a day, and I can tell you, I sort of like turned it on and turned it off, and I felt by the end of the day, I had less fatigue than I normally will. As people who are healers, there's a lot of energy to pull.
Yeah.
And I felt replenished.
Yeah, if I ran a center and I was working with people, I might run it a lot, because what it does when you're inducing neutrality is it now people, here's why it's so important as a practitioner, to either set up your field in still point and keep in the quantum field and stay there, or to have a technology like this, because people come in and they're in a place of need, energetically. And so if they come into an environment that has this going on, now this is now going like this to them. They're now going like, oh, wow, okay. They're now having a coherent influence on their relativity. Same thing if you stay in still point in the quantum field. If you stay in the quantum field, someone shows up into the place and it's like they're now kind of going, they're bobbing around, same way we bob around when we start dropping into it. They're not bobbing around. They're going like that. They're going like that. They don't need to pull on you anymore. Let them pull on neutrality. Neutrality is well-versed and capable to handle that. So really, this is almost like a little bit of cheating. We have these technologies, and there's a couple of new things I'm going to mention in this session. Then we're going to take a little break that are new things that are coming at the next retreat. We should have them that are designed same thing. All of these things are just little physical toys or little things with one goal: open up that space into this realm of ether. And the ether isn't the be-all, end-all either. The ether is like the water on the flower. The ether, the neutrality, just flowers this so that we can fulfill our dharma, our destiny, and to flower into who we truly are.
I was
Hi.
thinking about everything you've been saying, but when you turned Scotty on.
Yeah. That's it.
I had my eyes closed and I didn't know at the exact point when you turned it on.
Yes.
And suddenly I had a vision of all of these fences and barriers crumbling and disappearing.
Mm,
And that is what.
totally. It's designed to dissolve structures. Totally. Totally. Yeah. It was a beautiful process. I look at a lot of this as, kind of helping something that's arriving here to this plane. And so I just kind of have the sense of it and then say, oh, and then just kind of it guides in. And the way this one arrived in, I always joke, I say, we woke up one day and this thing was sitting on the front lawn. Just kind of landed there. But that's not really what happened, but it's kind of like that. One more and then we're going to shift here. Go ahead, please.
You have a lot of electrical equipment in the home.
Yes.
Stage places. And I put it on all night.
Mm.
And do you think if you just leave it on 20 minutes, it's going to keep affecting that?
No, I mean, my view is I try to tune. Do you have a lot of electrical things because you're staying somewhere where it has a lot of electrical things? Yeah.
Near microwaves and all kinds of things.
Yeah, then it might be good to keep it on longer. If it feels good and it goes, I have some people that keep it on long that work. I have one person that works at their computer a lot, and they say that when it's on, they can work at their computer. They don't get drained. They just keep working. And I'll tell you how that works. The way that's designed to work is that if you're at your computer and the computer is strong, by the way, I like to use laptops. I go and when I pick out back to the quantum field hygiene, I pick out a laptop, I put my hands on it for a little bit. I look at what materials is it made out of. I'm looking for a very specific effect. When I get one, I always keep the battery charged and I use it. I don't use it plugged in the wall if I can avoid it. If you have to be working at a big station or a situation and it's kind of pulling a little bit on your field, well, turn the Wi-Fi on. What does that do? Now the Wi-Fi is in effect keeping your field in this zone, in this coherent zone. If there's Wi-Fi, if there's a smart meter, now that situation is not the primary thing affecting your condition. Now this neutral essence inducer is. It's a good name for it too. I like that one.
Driving in the car with this.
Not necessarily. In what?
It'd be like 1,000, maybe a couple thousand miles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. On long drives, for sure. Oh yeah, bring your laser with you. We actually just found a little plug-in thing that's going to work with all of our stuff. You can plug in through a car lighter. So that's one of the new things. We have a bunch of now that we're manufacturing and effectively manufacturing. There's a lot of things that we're going to be rolling out. A stand for the laser, car plug, and there's a bunch of secondary things that are going to start to come into the process now. Yes. The app? Do you design apps? Oh, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, we'd love some input on that. Thank you. The app is one of them. An app that kind of works with all of our system. It's like on a smartphone or a pad where you can design different healing programs and send them through. The Wi-Fi eventually has got a vision of being like your home portal, where you want to work on cleaning up, mold. Well, then we have a program. Someone's not feeling well, activate. So all sorts of different kind of things you could be doing to work on your entire space. I tell you, I have not even been really marketing it. It's so powerful. I'm kind of like, I'm not looking to just go out and get it in everyone. I'm just saying, we'll follow you on this one because it is powerful. I mean, a scalar field inducer, it's really powerful. I mean, we get that happening everywhere, and it's powerful. Yes.
I just want to comment as to how powerful that is.
Yeah.
I had it in, I have a very small office in the home. I have lots of computers and the internet, everything is plugged in.
Yeah.
There. I had it beside me at home, so I had to pick it up, put it in the other room.
Yeah.
Because it was just like I couldn't work.
Yeah.
It wasn't agitating. It was more that it wouldn't let me work.
Yeah. Let me say one more thing. Part of why I don't keep it on long periods.
I know.
Part of why I don't keep it on for long periods is it blisses me out. And so if it's on and I'm in a meeting, I can tell in our building. Often I'll get someone. We had someone at an event in Canada a while ago, that we had it in the back of the table.
It was on Regina.
It was, that's right. And someone had it on.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, I kept, during the first part of the set, I kept being like, I had nothing to say. I'm supposed to be talking about pain relief and what the laser, and but I didn't want to yell back and turn that thing off, So in the middle, I told someone to get word to turn it off. And in our building, I have the same thing. Occasionally someone puts it on and I'm trying to meet, and my field's going like this, or energy's flowing up the spine, and I'm like, there's a Wi-Fi on. And sure enough, Lily's got it on, or something's going on. Yes, we'll do 2 more questions. Yes.
Just comment, I have a client that got one when she bought a laser set.
Yes.
And this is a very, very tense woman.
Yes.
She could lose 3 days sleep because her brother didn't put the pillow back on the couch and make a little chop in it.
Oh, for God's
Aye, aye.
So, and she got one of those, and she didn't want to hear about having to think about it, so she just puts it on, and it's on 24/7.
Yes.
Month in and month out.
Right.
So,
Is it helping?
she's getting more mellow, and she's voluntarily just started paying me more money.
Good.
I never asked for it, but there's so
I see. That's a good sign. Just keep running that thing. Here, I'll give you another one.
That's cute.
That's an abundance generator.
That's right.
I see abundance like that. To me, abundance is neutrality. Abundance is directly correlative. How much essence, neutrality do we have in this field? That's what qualifies abundance to me. And so really, that's another great way to look. I mean, this is like, I could keep coming up with ways to position this thing. An abundance generator, a cosmic traveler. I mean, this thing is like the thing that keeps giving. Yet the point is, when you cultivate neutrality, when you cultivate ether, you're opening up your abundance in the universe. The finite body, not so abundant. The elements on planet Earth, not so abundant. The ether of the universe, highly abundant. So that's good stuff. That's a great story. That's great. Yes.
I have a place that I visit that has highly dysfunctional people who fight like cats and dogs.
Yes.
So Samika let me borrow hers, and I named it Scotty, and I took it and I hid it in the hall underneath the coat rack, and it was the most pleasurable night that anyone has years.
Mm.
And as long as Samika let me have it, every time I went in, put it in the hall, turned it on. Every single time that was on, they were the kindest, sweetest, nicest people.
Mm.
And I couldn't believe it.
Mm.
Setting.
Doesn't even matter. I tell you, it doesn't even matter. The setting doesn't. To me, all the settings have nice effect.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that much. Finding the right one. When you do find the right one, boom, it'll take you to the next level. But all of them have that nice, subtle scalar effect. I really now put a lot of care with the laser, and it's why I like it simplified, and the Wi-Fi to make sure it's simple. Anyone cannot. There's no way to mess up. Pick anything, and it's going to start to induce you into this zone.